who's another Disney artist, and Josh is going to be here to help us out. Yeah, he's amazing. He's standing right now by the exit door. So if you got to leave a little bit early, we understand that. Oh, look over there. Look, 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 quick, look. That door right there is going to lead you outside. Thank you, Josh. If you've never been here before, those pencils you'll notice are missing erasers. And that's done on purpose because we want you to focus on the fundamentals of drawing. So that just means you got to stay light, be loose, be messy, and certainly a little sketchy, right? And this is the one place where being sketchy is encouraged. So we want you to be sketchy. Along the way, you're bound to make a few mistakes. I'm going to make several of them. But because we're drawing light, we'll go back and darken in the things that we want to keep. Kind of like the drawings you see on the wall over here and the ones over there above Josh. Yeah, great examples. So light and loose at first, lock in as you go. Now, all month long, up until October, up until Halloween, we're going to be drawing spooky characters. And in this class, we're going to draw a villain from a Pixar film. A very fluffy, burgundy, this bear smells like strawberries.
Yeah, we're drawing lots of my friends.
A lot of fun to draw. A lot of big shapes, so that means you got to use your
I hope you guys enjoy. I've been wanting to draw this guy.
But I'll guide you along the way. So you ready to draw Lotso? Yeah, all right. Okay, let's do it. Now for Lotso, you want to start with a circle, but the face for Lotso does extend down, so keep that in mind. What I like to do is find the middle of my paper approximately, and just leave this little mark. That way I know where to start my circle. You've got a great big piece of paper, so if you start in the middle, you should be good to go. For me though, to fit the chin, I'm going to draw my circle a little bit closer to the top. Now when you draw your circle, it's not about how perfect it looks, okay, even though Lotso is a very round character. He's not a circle walking around, right? That's Mike Wazowski's thing. So for Lotso, the circle is just the starting point. So it can be as rough and as messy as you need it. Now if yours looks like an oval or an egg shape, we can also use those as well. But the thing with Lotso, or any character that we draw, we want to start by adding in some guidelines. So if you've been here before, you know the drill, but for Lotso, we're going to draw a line right down the middle. He's going to be looking straight ahead. So that line going straight down reflects that. If it was bent or curved, then that would mean the character is turning their face. You want to leave a little bit of space above this next line, or excuse me, below it, because his eyes are rather small and he's got a large nose, right? Being a bear, he's going to have a large muzzle. So something like this is what we're aiming for. Now when it comes to Lotso, we want to start from the biggest shape, which is his nose. So right below the guidelines, it's almost like you're kind of encasing or attaching both sides of your circles together. Again, for Lotso, because his shapes are so large, again, I would encourage you to lock your wrist and use your arm when drawing. Because it's going to get you a lot of these like very quick, very sketchy strokes, and that's what we want. Now this is the start of his muzzle. The nose we want to block in. I'm going to bring down two curves from either side of that rainbow that we just drew in. And I'm going to pull it down just like a hair above the bottom of my circle. So I like to draw the nose in two shapes. So first the right, or the left, excuse me, and then I'll sketch it over to the right. Really what it looks like is just this big letter U. Now Lotso, like many Disney characters before him, Pixar too, go through a lot of changes. Because when animators or directors are working on these movies, they're constantly writing and rewriting. So Lotso originally was actually going to show up in the first Toy Story movie. In fact, you can see, a remnant of this model in the movie. He's not a main character at all, so if you don't see him, or you haven't seen him, which is fair, he's on a shelf way up high. When he looks down, you can see how back then, Pixar didn't crack the code for fur yet. In animation, and real life too, fur and hair are some of the hardest things to animate. So Lotso wasn't ready then. It wasn't until a certain blue monster came around that Pixar finally, Sully, they finally got their footing with hair texture. Again, it's very difficult. Fur in general, water too among those things. So even though Lotso was intended to be in the first Toy Story, he was saved for the third one, where his story was really fleshed out. Now we're going to bring down the sides of his muzzle down underneath the circle because he's a confident character. He's going to have what's called a lantern jaw. In an animation, the size of a chin might sound a little funny at first, but the size of a chin will tell you about how confident a character is. So knowing this, can you name, Buzz Lightyear, can you name any more? You were on it. Any more Gaston, right? Nobody's got a chin like Gaston. Yeah. Tigger, Kronk. Yeah, you guys know it, right? Big confident chins will mean big confident characters. But confidence for some characters can change because Goofy's technically a confident character, but I wouldn't categorize him with a character like Buzz Lightyear, per se, right? Their confidence levels are very, very different. But Lotso here, for sure. He started as a very charming character, but as the story goes on, we learn that he's not the nicest bear, right? Alright, now we've got the chin, we've got the nose. I'm going to use my center guideline here and lock in a little portion. He's got that little philtrum. I learned that this is called a philtrum. Right below the nose, and I want to give him still a very, friendly looking smile because he's friendly projecting, right? He's not the most friendliest bear, but we'll give him a nice big smile. Now, the first U, you can leave like this. It gets the message across that he's smiling, right? But I like to bring down another one just to kind of show that he's got an open mouth. So he's like, the trickery is turned up. Because again, he's looking like he's a very friendly bear. But because he's a stuffed animal, we're not going to see too much inside of his smile. Instead, I'm just going to draw his tongue, and it's this little rainbow at the bottom. But we've drawn a lot of features so far, so let's pause on adding anything new and go back and lock in the lines we've got. So if you've never been here before and you've never heard of what locking in means, it pretty much means we're going back and darkening in the stuff about our drawings that we want to keep. So if you made a mistake, that's okay, Rick. That's bound to happen. I've made a few, but we're only darkening in what's important. Now, speaking of changes in characters and in film in general, originally Lotso was going to be designed to be a villainous Care Bear. That was the first idea. They wanted a Care Bear that was nice at first, but again went rogue. The design was changed later. I'm pretty sure it had a lot to do with not wanting the Care Bears to look or act evil, right? But that's not their thing. But the idea was kept to keep Lotso more of an original character, but the story still remained the same. Now, this character makes an appearance, a cameo, in another Pixar movie, because Pixar loves adding in cameos about their movies that are releasing or ones that have already been out. Do you know what movie Lotso made an appearance in? Does anyone know? Take a guess. Oh, not Nemo. Good guess. Not Monsters, Inc. Up, yeah, it was in Up. He made an appearance in Up. He was in that little girl's room when Carl was first flying his house. She's like looking out the window and it changes the colors. He's in the corner somewhere. Yeah, you're right, it wasn't Up. That happens in a lot of these movies. A lot of these characters show up in different places, and I think that's a really cool thing that they do. Now, his eyes are going to sit right on top of the guideline, right between the center one. And as I mentioned earlier, his eyes aren't the largest, and they're pretty close together. So I'm going to start with one on the left, just by drawing a little circle. Leave a little space. You can use your guidelines there to kind of help you. And then I'll draw the other one right next door. Now, he's supposed to be scary, but right now he's looking a little possessed, right, with those blank eyes, which we can leave like this if we want. And because of the smile, you could have him looking very happy, but I want to show the Lotso that we see by the end of the movie, right? So I want to actually exaggerate his eyebrows. Let's make him look super angry. Super angry. Yeah, he's going to look a little cursed right now. Now, I'm going to draw in these diagonal lines, these tilted lines, but I want to connect to them these little rainbows. Because at the end of the day, even though he is a villain, he is very fluffy. Now, when you draw a villain, typically you want to but use more of sharper points. But for Lotso, because of the way that he was designed, his story, you want him to look very soft, right? You want him to look unassuming. Now, we'll leave the eyes like that for now. It looks like his muzzle is going to fall off the circle, so let's start to build up the rest of his head. Right here where the eyebrow is, that's why I start with them. Because I'm going to follow the circle, but draw in this very stretched out curve. It's almost like it's peeking from behind the brows. Stretched out curve. Now this next line, even though we are drawing in light, right, we've already known that, but this line you want to actually keep very light. Because we're going to start to build his cheek, but I'm going to bring this right back down to the bottom of his chin. And the reason why you want to emphasize the lighter lines for this is because, as I mentioned earlier, Sully was a character that broke out with the technology needed to make characters look furry and not so flat. So for Lotso here, we need that same effect. Before we do that, though, his ears are going to sit right in these little pockets. And in this view, since we're looking at him from the front, I just want you to draw these two little rainbows that sit right in that little corner. Two rainbows on each side. And then the inner lining of the ear is the same shape. It's just another little rainbow. From here, we'll now go back and start to lock in the stuff about our sketch that we intend to keep. So for me, I'm going to go back and lock in the sides of his face, but as I mentioned earlier, let's make him look very fluffy and very furry. You can do that in many ways. For Lotso, the easiest way to do it is to attach what we refer to as these little blades of grass. But again, the personality that he's presenting, we want to keep it in mystery. So we don't want these to look too sharp. Bless you. And then when you curve it back to the chin, it's up to you if you want to add any more fur, down here. I think it's a smarter idea to maybe emphasize the fur on his ear, but it's the same shape, same things, blades of grass, shark fins, right here above each ear. Now the last thing for Lotso, as you can already imagine, he's missing his eyes, but if you wanted to keep him like this and make him look possessed, you totally can. But the eyes for him are they're an important thing in general for animated characters, and to capture his personality, I think it's important to get it right for Lotso too. He's kind of got this half closed eyelid look that you do see on a lot of characters. And for him, you want to just tilt the eye line, or in this case, the lash line, at a sort of angle. And then his pupils are just little circles that sit in the corner. But maybe he's your favorite character or a villain you really like. You want to add in something entirely different. You can add in little flames. Maybe you can draw a silhouette of the toy he's looking at, where he's got that menacing look. But to keep it simple, I'm just going to draw 2 circles for his pupils and then shade them in. And honestly, that's pretty much all that we need for our rough sketchy portraits of Lotso. Anything that you add from here is extra credit. However, the eyebrows, I will say, are the same shade as his nose. So I like to shade those in first, a little darker. I'll push a little harder on the pencil, but then on his coat, I'll go lighter. But if you want to mix it up, you can totally do that too. The muzzle for him, I think, is like a gray or an off-white. But this is your sketch. You can even draw in more of his body if you wanted to. But if you've been here before, you know what the most important thing about your drawing is, right? Or what to add is, you gotta sign it. So find a good spot and sign your sketches of Lotso Huggin Bear. All right. In the end, I want to know, how did you guys do out there? Pretty good, not bad. Laughter's a good thing, right? And you know what? If you're looking down at your sketch and it's making you laugh, I feel like that's a good thing, right? Yeah. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to have an art show. So real quick, I'll give you some time to catch up, add in your last minute touches, but on the count of 3, I want to see all of the Lotsos in here, okay? And you know what? You look around too and see how differently everybody draws. All right, you ready for this? Yes. Okay, here we go. On 3, boards up. Slow count. 1. Add that last line. 2. Don't forget to sign it. And 3. Lotso. Let's see. Let's over here. Great job. The chins, the nose is over here. He looks super angry over there. He looks very grouchy. These are great. I love these. I love the noses. You guys really nailed it over here. Nice job on your sketchbook too. Look at the eyes on that one. He's like super possessed. He's very mad over there. Nice job. He's looking great. Ooh, nice proportions. The shading. Yes, another big confident chin. You drew the entire body. Look at that drawing. Nice. You know what? Give yourselves a round of applause. What do you think? Yeah? Yeah. For a job well done. Great work. All right. Well, you know what? That will do it for Lotso. We've got so many more shows lined up, and we'd love to see you for another one. But for now,